Permítame un segundito porque tenemos el placer de saludar al señor embajador Andrii Yurash. Él es el embajador de Ucrania ante el Estado Vaticano, ante la Santa Sede. La primera pregunta con el señor embajador, que lo vamos a hacer en inglés. No sé si él habla italiano, pero puede entender algo de italiano. Primero que todo, saludarlo, Ambassador Yurash. Good morning, and thank you very much for this interview for America.
Thank you for calling me, and I think it's very important topic and time to be in contact and to discuss this question.
Thank you, Ambassador. The first question will be, what is your opinion on the recent statements of the Pope about the war between Russia and Ucrania?
My opinion, and not only mine, but the position of the Ukrainian side has been expressed in many ways. I reacted almost immediately after the publication of the text of this interview. So surely Ukraine always in favor of peace. Peace is the most desirable things for our country, especially after 2 years of terrible war and aggression initiated by Russia. But surely at this point we cannot agree with the position when somebody tells that only Ukraine has to do something to reach the peace. Surely we are starts to preparations, and the President Zelensky already make these 10 points of so-called the peace formula of President Zelensky. I think this peace formula is a great basis for reaching peace. And it's one point. The second point, surely we cannot stop, because for us, for our situation, for our country, to stop and do not continue our fight for independence, for internationally recognized borders, it means a real death for our identity, for our independence. And I am absolutely sure that all Ukrainians are ready to reach the most desirable point, which will be basis for future negotiations for reaching peace. And this basis is liberation of all our territory and returning back our control on our internationally recognized borders.
Ambassador, some expertise on the Pope are saying that the Pope asked for a white flag because he has some information that maybe Russia is going to start a nuclear war. So he wants to prevent asking Ukraine to this white flag. What do you think about this theory?
I think, and I hope it's just the theory. I remember perfectly that very intensive communication and rumors about possibility to use the nuclear weapons by Russia were in 2022, at the end of this year. But I read a lot of international experts on this subject, especially American, European ones, that at this moment they don't see the real sign that Russia will be ready to use the nuclear weapons. I think at this point, at this moment, there are some other approaches, and in my opinion, this theory doesn't explain the situation and not really valuable at this moment. Surely Russia, after the 2 years of war, starts to do everything possible and intervene in any possible way, not just Ukraine, but international community through the Russian propaganda, which is terribly known everywhere, through some messages they go through some concrete persons, because Russia would like to legitimize already achieved results in the frames of this war. Surely Ukraine cannot be ready in any circumstances to accept this achievement. So I would finally say that the price for possible peace, recognition the already occupied territory of Ukraine as a Russian part of the Russian Federation. Surely it's not appropriate, and this is terrible danger not just for Ukraine but for the whole world. If we will be agreed to accept already this situation in Ukraine, the same situations can appear in many other regions of the world.
Dear Ambassador, this is Victoria speaking from Rome. I would like to ask you about another humanitarian issue. The Pope asked Cardinal Matteo Zuppi to address the return home of Ukrainian children who have been illegally deported to Russia. Zuppi was in July at the White House with President Biden, and I would like to know what has been the concrete help of the Vatican on this topic.
Thank you for this question, and we very much appreciated this initiative of the Holy Father. Almost 1 year, in fact, of this initiative started last year in springtime, and I am absolutely sure that the Cardinal Matteo Maria Zuppi is doing everything possible. What can he does in this situation to help Ukrainian children, to liberate them, to return them back to Ukraine. We really much appreciate it. He visited not only, you mentioned his visit to the United States, but also he visited at the beginning, at the very beginning. His first visit was to Kiev, and he realized, he discovered for himself the realities of this terrible situation, what we have now in Ukraine. That not just thousands of children are illegally taken to Russia and Belarus. It's also another question, because some number of children are already in Belarus as well. But he discovered that hundreds of thousands of children are already illegally moved to the Russian and Belarusian territory. And surely he is very productive and very effective in this mission in terms of negotiation. But unfortunately, there are at this moment concrete result of this very intensive efforts, but not because of the mission and not of the Cardinal Zuppi, but because the negative always response from the Russian side. I think everybody realized one more time that the Russians are not willing to communicate, to cooperate, and to be successful in this mission as well. And I think the decision of the International Criminal Law, which was declared several months ago, that proclaimed Putin and Lvova Belova as war criminals, it's an objective evaluation of the Russian politics in this area.
Ambassador, there are coming important elections this year. Zelensky's peace formula is unacceptable for Russia. Does this lack of interest in seeking an agreement on creating conditions for peace negotiations translate into a greater interest in continuing the war?
I think we have now a very big international consensus agreement about this peace formula. According to the last position and statement made by Ukrainian official, Russia will be engaged into this, but on the next final stage, when all international partners of Ukraine will find agreement and will make concrete preparations to realization of this formula. We already have several meetings of political advisors in different parts of in Kyiv, in Saudi Arabia, on Malta, in Switzerland. Now Ukraine is very actively working on, we call this global summit, according to the peace formula, which will collect the heads of the state and governments. I think it will be in Switzerland as well very soon. So it's a very intensive preparation, and when will be reached international understanding and agreement around the Ukrainian position, this position will be introduced to Russian officials for their response, but it will happen on the next latest stages of implementation of this peace formula.
Ambassador Yurash, thank you very much for your time. You know that you have another appointments today. We have just 10 minutes with you. Thank you very much, Ambassador, and we hope that the peace arrive very soon to your country.
Thank you so much. With the help of every other countries, all our friends in Spain, in United States, in Italy, we will reach, I hope, and surely with the help of God, we will reach this desirable moment.
Thank you, Ambassador. Ahí están las declaraciones del embajador Andrii Yurash, es el embajador de Ucrania ante la Santa Sede. Hoy, pues, ese personaje del día, Victoria, lo ha contactado debido a las declaraciones del Papa cuando dijo que había que sacar una bandera blanca, lo cual para Ucrania es la rendición. Los expertos dicen, se lo preguntamos, que el Papa hizo eso porque le preocupa el crecimiento, la incrementación de el conflicto, pero sobre todo que Rusia toque armas nucleares. Este embajador fue el mismo que dijo en la Segunda Guerra Mundial alguien habló de negociaciones de paz con Hitler y de sacar bandera blanca para satisfacerle. Hay que matar al dragón, hay que matar al dragón. Tenemos que hacer todo para matar al dragón. Hay que ser coherentes. David, resumen ejecutivo de las 4 preguntas que pudimos hacerle al embajador Yurash.
Claro que sí, Julio. Pues la primera pregunta que usted le hizo fue cuál era la opinión sobre estas declaraciones precisamente que hizo del Papa, y su opinión, pues es que no es solo su opinión, pero es la posición también de la parte ucraniana, que se remitieron precisamente a hablar de esto inmediatamente y dicen que Ucrania siempre ha estado a favor de la paz, que es lo más deseable, pues que quiere este país desde que comenzó la guerra, pero que no pueden aceptar simplemente rendirse o levantar la bandera blanca. El primer punto es que los métodos del presidente Zelensky han sido fuertes, y menciona también que el segundo punto, pues, de las negociaciones de paz es que también Rusia necesita cooperar y que todas esas fronteras internacionalmente reconocidas puedan ser parte, pues, de esta colaboración. Después se le preguntó, Julio, se le pidió, pues, además, que si esta bandera blanca era alguna forma como mostraba el miedo de una guerra nuclear que podría ser iniciada por Rusia, y él responde que esto es una teoría, que él cree que Rusia estará lista para usar esas armas nucleares en el momento que las quiera usar, que por supuesto es una teoría que no explica la situación y no es realmente valiosa en este momento. Rusia está tratando de intervenir de todas las formas posibles con la propaganda de ellos, la propaganda rusa, tratando de legitimar los resultados ya obtenidos en el marco de esta guerra. Ucrania no debe ni estará dispuesta a darse por vencida. Seguramente Rusia no puede utilizar estas armas en este momento por esta misma razón. Después Victoria preguntó sobre el regreso de los niños que han sido enviados a Rusia y la perspectiva que tiene desde el Vaticano. Él responde que agradece la pregunta, que le gusta la forma en la que se refiere el Papa con respecto a esto, y habla también del caso de un cardenal Suti que de apellido Suti, que está haciendo
Supi.
que está haciendo todo lo posible para ayudar a los niños ucranianos a regresar a su país. Su primera visita fue para salvar y proteger a los niños de la realidad de la guerra, y se enfrentó con una realidad que no solo lleva a niños a Rusia, a Bielorrusia, sino que también son trasladados ilegalmente, él ha sido muy productivo con esta misión, pero desafortunadamente, debido a que no ha habido cooperación por la parte rusa, esto ha hecho que sea cada vez más difícil salvar o regresar a los niños al país de Ucrania. Luego le preguntó Juan sobre el año electoral y cuál es la fórmula de paz que se está buscando. Y dice que Rusia participará cuando todos los socios internacionales de Ucrania hagan realidad esta fórmula, que estén incluidos los Estados Unidos, Suiza, Malta y otros países. Se trata de operaciones muy intensas cuando logramos un entendimiento internacional sobre la posición de Ucrania, y esto pasará a confirmarse luego que los países que estén apoyando a Rusia lo puedan hacer. Y finalmente Julio lo despide, le agradece por su tiempo, ya que él tiene otros compromisos, y él da las gracias por este espacio, espera que pueda tener paz pronto en esta región del mundo.
Y el apoyo de otros países para lograrlo. Gracias, David.